Tonight on CTV News, a picture-perfect day for Team Matatini, the pricey cost of cycleways, and a multi-million-dollar building is rebuilt.
Broadcasting across Canterbury, from the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Good evening. It's been a beautiful first day for Team Matatini, the biggest cultural event in New Zealand. Thousands of spectators cheered on the performers at Hagley Park, and our reporter Marcus Gibbs was among them.
Taking kapa haka to an Australasian level. Today marked the first day of performances by top kapa haka teams from New Zealand and Australia.
Oh, it's awesome, bro. Been waiting for bloody years for this.
45 teams have been selected from 13 regional festivals. Now it's their turn to take the centre stage for the Team Matatini National Kapa Haka Festival.
Over the next 4 days they're going to compete very, very hard to find out who is the best of the best for the next 2 years.
This week more than 30,000 people will turn out to watch the performers in action.
This is the elite of kapa haka performance. You can't get any better than this.
Supporters were out in droves today to cheer on their whānau.
Oh, bro, it's like the Olympics for Māori, bro.
It's my first Matatini, and we heard it was in Otautahi, so we thought, right, let's get on our walker and come down here.
So where have you come from?
Oh, just from Glen.
It's really awesome. It's a good turnout today and a beautiful day.
This is massive, being amongst all our own, bro, and the support of Move One Last, bro. This is massive.
Amongst the crowd, a few performers in training. The teams have been practicing for the last 8 months, all for this moment. And they're impressing the crowd.
It's really important to bring back our Māori culture, especially here in Ngaitahu as well.
It's pretty important to keep this sort of thing going. It reunites a lot of people too. People get to meet new whānau that they've never met before, so it's awesome day.
It's just about celebrating it, eh, bro? Yeah, I reckon. It's alive and well.
This kapa haka inspiring future generations.
I think everyone's sort of losing it, especially in the South Island and Christchurch, so I think that's why it's pretty cool it's happening here.
They can maintain their cultural identity and also maintain their customs and traditions that we do.
This is the first one I've been to, so it's quite exciting. I was been excited for it the last week.
The performances are a powerful watch, capturing the attention of the thousands of spectators, including some people who are new to the Māori culture.
I love the musicality of it, but I also love the visual, all of the different movements and things that they're doing.
Yvonne is taking night classes to learn Te Reo Māori. Matatini is right up her alley.
Broadened my horizons a little bit. I live here in Aotearoa, so it's important, I think, to learn a little bit of our biculturalism.
The festival runs until Sunday, and thousands of Cantabrians are expected to turn out to watch, celebrating the Māori culture as one. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
2 more port workers have been injured, this time at Timaru, and now there are calls for a national inquiry to improve the safety at all ports.
Less than a week after findings highlighted 8 deaths and 230 accidents on ships and at ports over the last 3 years, 2 more men have been injured this morning at Timaru Port. One of the men was transferred to Christchurch Hospital with a serious back injury, the other sustained moderate injuries. Maritime New Zealand is still investigating the incident. This follows another accident at Lyttelton Port on Monday when a worker fell 2 metres down an open hatch on a container vessel, breaking his arm. The Rail, Maritime and Transport Union says the accidents reinforce the need for a national inquiry into health and safety practices. It says long shifts and irregular shift work patterns are contributing factors to problems in the industry. Union workers at Lyttelton had embarked on strike action from December, stopping overtime hours at its container port because of safety concerns following the deaths of 3 workers in a year. They were also unhappy with the port's pay rise offer of 3% over 18 months after company CEO Peter Davey received an 18% boost to his pay packet.
An earthquake-damaged printing facility has been rebuilt, but not in the central city. The company, with a rich history spanning 80 years, has opened inside the Wigram Business Park.
This is the new home of Caxton Press. It's a $5 million printing complex for a company with more than 8 decades of history behind it.
Oh, it couldn't be bigger for us. It's huge. It's been 4 years in the making.
Caxton Press is one of the oldest surviving print companies in Christchurch.
We were in a building in Victoria Street which was severely damaged after the earthquakes, and it's taken 4 years to get here, but we're finally here.
Following the earthquakes, this company was locked in the red zone for 10 weeks, and then a decision was made to rebuild. Building work took exactly 1 year, culminating with this impressive printing plant. It earned the Earthquake Recovery Minister's tick of approval. Jerry Brownlee was here along with other invited guests. 35 print craftsmen and design experts work here, churning out hundreds of jobs every month on these multi-million-dollar machines. This new plant is enabling the way for this company to expand its operation.
At the moment we do about 350 jobs a month. Well, that's going to be more because we can just cope with more.
The managing director has his eyes set on growing that figure over the next few years.
350 to 500 jobs a month.
Caxton supplies printing products to major tertiary institutions in the city as well as other companies. It has a rich history with deep roots embedded in early Christchurch.
I saw a list which had all the printers in 1980, and I think there's only 3 left. So we're a survivor.
Bruce has been the managing director since buying the company in 1978, and after 37 years, this is a true family business, printing into the future. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Well, there's some good news. It looks as if the downsizing of Sarah is underway. Instead of recruiting a newcomer, outgoing head of the CCDU is being replaced by his 2IC.
When Warwick Isaacs leaves his role as head of Sarah's Christchurch Central Development Unit at the end of the month, he will be replaced by someone who knows the position. Baden Hewitt has been appointed to the role of CCDU Interim Director and takes over from the 27th of March. As Isaacs' second in command, Sarah says Hewitt will know the new role well. Acting Sarah CEO John Omler says the CCDU's work programs will continue under Hewitt's leadership up until Sarah's deconstruction in 2016. Sarah says work is currently underway to ascertain how the organisation's work programs will be managed beyond this date. Before coming to the CCDU, Hewitt held roles in the health sector and served 43 years with the Royal New Zealand Army. Isaacs announced his resignation last month to take up a leadership position with Stonewood Homes.
Well, the rain was here, but only briefly. Farmers in South Canterbury are grateful, but still a lot more is needed before the drought is broken.
Has recent rainfall eased up on Canterbury's drought status? Not really, despite up to 11 millimetres of rain falling on parts of South Canterbury on Monday night. It was not enough to help drought-stricken farms. While there has been more rain towards Waimate, there has been little in the high country and nothing to feed the Opuha Dam, closed off from irrigation since last month. Some South Canterbury farmers say they need 10 times more rain to get back to suitable growing conditions. Further north, most of the regions in Canterbury are continuing with a total fire ban, but Ashburton has recently pulled its ban back to a restricted level, following reasonable rainfall in late February. It is hoped southerly rainfall over the next few days might provide some relief to the province.
Well, still to come here on CTV News, the council's new cycleway plan has more than doubled in price, but one advocate believes it's well worth the money for the city. Welcome back to CTV News. How much benefit would the council's new cycle network bring to the city? Well, up to $8 return for every dollar spent, apparently. But cycle advocacy group Spoke says that figure is more likely to be $20 return. And with me now is the Spoke's chair, Don Babe, and good evening to you.
Good evening.
So, first of all, the cost benefits, according to this report, are $1.2 billion. You think it's more than that?
Yes, that's a conservative figure based on what the cycleways are worth to health benefits and decongestion and things. We think there's a lot more. We think there's benefits that are not measured in there. There's social benefits. There's seeing people out on the bikes every day and talking to them and mixing with them. Obviously the health benefits and just the air quality benefits as well.
Nothing wrong with that, but let's be realistic about the figures here. So $1.2 billion return over 40 years is $30 million a year. That's absolute rubbish.
No, it's not. No, that's pretty easy. The health benefits alone are worth just about that much. You look at how much the obesity balloon is looking like.
So you're saying, so if we all get onto bikes, and then we're not going to become obese and fat, and that's going to be fine. Up on the television screen here now, you can see this graph that says all the good things from the Cycle Consultancy Group. Let's have a look at this for a second there. So we've got $806.5 million. That's 66% in terms with health and environment. So is that taking into account people not having to get their stomach staples, people that don't have to, that kind of? Are we talking? Is that the cost health benefit as such?
Yes, it is. That's part of it. The health, getting your stomach stapled is the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. We're looking at people not even getting to the stage where their stomachs are needing to be stapled.
But in all seriousness, though, I mean, we've got a problem. Well, it depends if you look at it as a problem or not. In New Zealand, we have one of the highest rates of per capita in the world in terms of getting into our cars. You're looking at trying to create a major cultural shift. It's not going to happen.
We're not looking for a major cultural shift. We're not going to say cars are finished tomorrow, and cars have still got their place in our transport network. What we're asking for is more choices. So if you're going into town, you don't sit at home and think, where am I going to park? You sit at home and think, how will I get to town today? So you've got the bus, yes, that might work or it might not, or you can bike, or you can take the car. It just depends on where you're going and what you're doing. What
I do agree with you is that we live in, the flattest city in New Zealand. It's almost abhorrent that we don't have proper cycle networks here. But I put it to you, when we're facing a 33% increase in our rates over 4 years, you can tell this is not going to go down with people who are in their cars. How are you going to convince them that this money is going to be well spent? Because as I say, you're looking at $30 million return, and that's not in terms of physical cash, that's in terms, as you say, and rightly so, probably the hospital expenses and people that are lazy.
Yeah, two things. First of all, the car people agree with us. AA have been beside us and talking and saying that they think that this investment in cycleways is good for them. They can see the decongestion benefits, and they think their members will be better off. And the health benefits, they accrue to the central government. So what we're saying is that we're putting money in by the local government, and now the central government have come back and said, hey, we think we can recognise some benefits from this as well. And they put up $100 million in the extra urban cycle funds, which is available for local councils to contest, providing they show some commitment to doing some work themselves.
Let's crunch the numbers. So at this stage, looking at the council would commit, is it $156 million? Or part of it, would any of that come from the government? Not at this stage, no.
Yeah, the government have already committed $75,000, I think, for $250,000 for the Christchurch urban cycleways. That's in the first round. We've got another round of bidding for that project, which closes at the end of March.
Yeah.
So there is more funding available then, and they will just roll forward. This is a 4-year project from the government. So it's a matter of Christchurch putting its hand up and saying, hey, we're ready to spend. We want some input from the government. And the government have expressed their willingness to put their hand in their pocket as well.
I don't doubt the sincerity of the government and the council and some of these reports, but I still question though, and I think it does come back to the culture of change. We have to be very serious that in a city of, that's struggling to even meet, 3.5 or whatever, 350,000, is it going to be cost benefit for everybody though? I mean, you look at the congestion that we face at the moment. If you're coming from North Canterbury into the city, it's an absolute mess. How are we going to force those people to get into to get off there?
You won't force anybody to do anything, will you? You can't force people to do it. You can give them options. One of the things we're really looking forward is cycle access over the Waimak Bridge. Now, okay, you're not going to get people from Amberley biking into work at the hospital, but you are going to get people from Kaiapoi that work in Belfast saying, oh, well, that's nice, I've got a nice little cycleway now, I can just bike into Belfast and do my work there.
The group you represent, Spokes, Canterbury, you've got about 1,000 members?
Yes.
What's the feedback, the initial feedback you've had from them today?
Oh, excellent. Everybody's very happy, of course. This news has been around for a while. The council debated at the end of January about the extra spending, and it was passed by the council, so we're all very happy with the outcome.
Your goal by 2020 is you want Christchurch to be considered one of the top 5 cycle cities in the world. Do you think that's realistic? Do you think you'll get there?
It's a big ask. There's some really good cycle cities in the world. Copenhagen is very good. Vancouver is very good. There's Portland in the United States has become very good. There's a lot of cities that are saying if we want good people to work in our city, we need to have good cycle infrastructure.
Does your group also represent the mountain bikers? Because I know a lot of mountain bikers would be very happy with the recent news about the international mountain bike hopefully going ahead in the Port Hills. I mean, that's going to be fantastic, and that's part of getting that recognition of being known in Christchurch as one of the best cycle cities in the world, wouldn't it?
Yes, definitely. Like Rotorua is known for its mountain biking through the redwood forest, and people come from all over the world to bike in Rotorua.
So where to from here? I mean, this report's been released. Vicky Buck's got a smile on her face, unsurprisingly. Everybody's pretty happy in terms of the cyclists, but once again, what happens now?
The council have got a program for rolling out these cycleways. They've identified 13 cycleways, and I think that at the bottom of the article that was in the paper, there is a list of those cycleways and how much they each cost. They've then gone through and worked out the priorities and said this one will return the best bangs for our buck in the short term. Happens that the first 4 go north, east, south and west of the square. So that's good, that's a good start, and then they just roll it out from there. So where it goes from here is that we expect to see the unicycle cycle path, which goes from town out towards the university, up and running in the next 18 months.
Well, good luck to you, Spokes Chair Don Babe. Lovely to meet you. Thanks for coming into CTV News.
Thank
All
you
the
very
very
much.
best.
Thanks.
We'll sort of come here on your local news, the week's business roundup and the region's weather. And welcome back to CTV News. Now here's Warren Head with this week's business roundup.
I'm Warren Head from headliner.co.nz. Well, here we are into March, and just a quick look back at the month gone, February. What a great month that was if you had securities on the market here or anywhere around the rest of the world. Everything kind of went up, including our currency and stocks and shares. And worldwide stocks were up about 5-6%, but home here we did just as well. In fact, we did very, very well. Our market went up 18% in February. So those people who had shares on the stock market who bought into the energy floats last year have done very well. And the market doesn't show any signs of slowing down. It's been pretty high for the last week or two, setting records most days, cooling off every now and then when somebody takes a little bit of profit. But overall, we look like we're in a pretty good space. So let's see if March can do just as well. One of the things I mentioned was that our currency has been moving around a bit. Well, of course, it's down about 10% over the summer against the US dollar, but this week against the Australian dollar, things are looking very strong. The Australians kept their cash rate at the same level yesterday. Their GDP numbers, well, they were pretty iffy, and most of the demand is coming out of Christchurch and Auckland, so the Aussies are coming over here. So our currency against Australia is looking pretty strong. So if you're looking at those holidays, it's a pretty good time to book, I would think, whichever direction you're going. Our currency looks like it's going to be holding around these levels for some time yet to come until interest rates change. So what helps these things stabilise and helps you to make the decision about whether or not you can afford a holiday? Well, little things like what happens on the farm, and we are seeing now a bit of a flattening off in that dip that the milk auctions took. There was another milk auction this week. It was only up 1%, but things are pretty stable. And just putting the background to that, I saw an excellent piece by My Farm over the last 24 hours, analysing what's happened to the market in terms of milk prices. Well, of course, there was a very big buying spree coming out of China in particular in 2013, continued into the first half of 2014, and essentially they just overbought. And of course, at the same time, our farmers are getting very excited and pushing out more milk. And we do have this drive to produce more milk. Now, My Farm has questioned that. They're saying, well, let's not get too caught up in producing more and more milk, because sooner or later you get to the point where you tip over and you're supplying too much of the stuff, and down comes the price. So then you get volatility, you get the gate price, the farm gate price coming down, and then you start to feel it all the way through the economy. So let's just, calm down a little bit and keep growth going at a reasonable rate. But just to show you what the numbers currently look like, if you're in the business of producing whole milk powder, well, you're going to get $3,200 a tonne still, US dollars these are. Skim milk powder, you get about US $2,900 a tonne. So these are still very handsome prices. We're hardly in trouble in material way with these sorts of numbers. The economy will probably grow despite what's happening on the milk markets. So on that front, let me just revert back to the stock market and talk about what happened to one company that bought in, just to show that things don't always go upwards. You recall perhaps about 2 years back, the big retailer Woolworths was worried that the warehouse was looking like it might be going into their type of operation into retail. Well, they bought some shares in the warehouse, and I believe they paid somewhere between $6 and $6.50 a share. 2006, 2007 this was. Well, they've just recently sold them at $2.85 a share. So they've taken quite a bath on those. They've freed up the money. They no longer fear the warehouse, it seems. And the company that bought them, James Pascoe, a New Zealand company, was pleased to pick them up and increase its holding in that stock. So more to come on that. They say there's no takeover coming, but for now, at least it's a Kiwi buying in, and the Aussies have gone back home. I'm Warren Head for headliner.co.nz.
Thank you, Warren. Now time for the region's weather.
Kia ora everybody, let's take a look at the temperatures. Timaru, 24 degrees down there for you. Temuka and Geraldine both on 26 degrees. Ashburton, 27 degrees down your way. Methven had a warm 28 degrees. Rakaia on 27. Darthfield, a lovely 28 degrees for you today. Leeston and Rolleston on 26 degrees. Lincoln also had a high of 26 degrees. And Akaroa, a warm 27 for your Thursday. Ōtautahi, a very warm day for day one of Te Matatini on 25 degrees. Looking out north of the Waimakariri River, Kaipoi, Rangiora and Amberley all on 27 degrees today. Taking a look inland, Culverden and Hamner Springs taking out the region's high on a beautiful 31 degrees today. And also 31 degrees in Cheviot. Let's take a look at the weather for Friday. Starting in Timaru, morning rain clearing to a fine afternoon with gusty mild northwesterly winds. Tonight's low 15 degrees, tomorrow's high 24 degrees. You will have rain and gusty northerlies at first in Ashburton, but fine for most of the day with fresh northerly winds. Tonight's low 15, tomorrow's high you can expect 25 degrees. What's in store for the Garden City? A rainy start in the morning with strong gusty winds, unfortunately, but a fine afternoon is in store. Northwesterlies will be developing. Tonight's low 15 degrees, tomorrow's high a warm 24 degrees. Not such a pretty start for Kaikoura either, with heavy rain at first, but you can look forward to a warm and fine day later on with gusty northerlies decreasing. Tonight's low 15 and tomorrow's high you can also expect 24 degrees. The rest of Canterbury can expect warm temperatures again. Temuka and Geraldine, a high of 27 degrees is expected for you tomorrow with a low of 14 degrees overnight. Methven and Darfield, you can expect 27 with a low of 14 degrees overnight. Leeston, Rolleston and Lincoln, yes, you can also expect 20 degrees tomorrow. And over in a beautiful Akaroa, well, why not enjoy some fish and chips on the beach with a high of 26 degrees for you. Another fine day for our northern towns at Kaipoi, Rangiora and Amberley, all on 27 degrees. And the gardens will definitely need a water in Culverden, Hamner Springs and Cheviot. Looks as if you will be sharing the region's high of a very hot 29 degrees. Looking ahead for Canterbury, cooler on Saturday with a period of cloud and brief rain during the morning, but southwesterlies becoming strong and gusty during the afternoon with more rain on the cards. Becoming fine and sunny on Sunday with gusty, cool southwesterlies dying out, but northerlies later on. Mostly cloudy on Monday with southerlies dying out and northeasterlies developing. And mostly fine and sunny on Tuesday with the usual northeasterly winds. And showers at first on Wednesday with fresh, cool southwesterlies, but clearing and becoming fine during the day with winds dying out. Have a great evening. Haere.
Thanks, Riri, and that is CTV News for Thursday. You have a great evening.
supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.